Hello, hi friends. My name is Nilesh. If you are a normal computing user like using smartphone or tablets or an advanced user who is into IT industry, over the last few years you would have probably heard about AI and generative AI. The advances in this technology space has been changing the world all over. People are scared that the AI is going to replace humans and there are going to be impacts on the jobs. Recently, there was a news in the market about DeepSeek. This is like a ChatGPT. So when ChatGPT came out, it became one of the most popular tool which people use nowadays to perform a lot of things. ChatGPT was created by OpenAI and it gained a lot of traction. DeepSeek is a Chinese company which has released a model, a large language model, which competes with ChatGPT. Now, if you have not heard about DeepSeek, it's a good time to use your favorite search engine and just do a search. What is DeepSeek? Let's go and see what is DeepSeek and why is it becoming so popular. So if you head over to the deepseek.com, you will see this landing page which talks about the DeepSeek capabilities and what are the different types of language models and how does it compare with some of the models like its competitors, similar to Qwen 2.5, Llama 3.1, Cloud 3.5, GPT-4o, and right at the top you see here that DeepSeek R1 is now live, and this is rivaling the OpenAI's model O1. Now these are some of the most advanced models and they seem to have a reasoning capability. And there is also O3 model which is in the pipeline, and we are expecting a announcement to happen soon about the O3 model from OpenAI. Now, why did DeepSeek become so popular? So I did this search and tried to understand what is DeepSeek and why is it becoming so popular all over the world. In the nutshell, DeepSeek is the name of the free AI-powered chatbot, which looks and feels almost like the ChatGPT, and it can do same kind of task, and it works on the similar basis. So you can go through this article, which I will provide the link in the description. Here in this article, we can see that it says like the O1 model, R1 is a reasoning model, which means that it can think like a human would think given a problem statement, and it would try to reason when giving the responses. Now, again, this has been happening with other models as well. Why did DeepSeek gain so much popularity? Here is another article which says why DeepSeek suddenly became so popular and people are crazy about it. Now, in this article, we can see that the interesting part about R1 research paper is that the DeepSeek, it claims that it is a highly sophisticated model and it was trained at a fraction of the cost of OpenAI's O1 model. Usually to train the model, it requires a lot of computing resources, and what the DeepSeek team claims is it took only about 3 to 5% of the resources as compared to that of the OpenAI. And that is what has created a lot of buzz in the market, and even the shares of companies like Nvidia, they took a hit because of this news. There is also a concern about the data privacy because this is created by a Chinese company, and although it is open source, there are some people who have reservations about using DeepSeek. And just recently, about a day ago, here it says about 21 hours ago, there is this article about Australian government banning DeepSeek related chatbot and other applications on government devices for security reasons. So that's one part of it. But let's say you are interested about knowing the DeepSeek and you want to try DeepSeek. One way is using the DeepSeek and going to the site using the Start Now. But this might again prompt some of those privacy concerns because the data is going to China and all those data residency related issues might be there. Sometime back on this channel, I had done a video on the LM Studio, which allows us to run the large language model or even small language models in offline mode. So that is what I'm going to use now and show you how to use the DeepSeek model on your machine locally. So here I have LM Studio application open, and if we go into the option here on the left, we can see, so let me close this window. I don't have anything at the moment. If I go into the discover mode here and then I search for the DeepSeek model, we will see that there are a lot of versions or variations of this model available on the community site, which is coming from Hugging Face. So I have downloaded some of these models and I will use a couple of them. But if you want to download one of them, you can select which model you want. Like, let's say in this case, I want this DeepSeek R1 Distill Quen model, or I want to use the DeepSeek R1 Distill Llama 8 billion model. So I can select one of these models and then I can use the download option here. In this case, you can see that it shows this model or this variant of the model has been downloaded locally to my machine, which is the Q4 model or the quantization. These are the different versions of the model. So there is an option to select which version we want to use. And here you can also get an information or idea about how does the quantization technique impact on the versions of the model. So it says that quantization is a technique used to compress the model weights and reduce the size of the model. So we can select one of these quantizations, like Q3 is there, Q4, Q6 or Q8, and depending on which version of the model or which quantization option we choose, the size of the model would vary. The one that I've downloaded is 4.9 GB in size, but if I use a 6-bit quantization or 8-bit quantization, the size would go up to 6.6 or almost close to 9 GB, 8.5 GB. Once I have downloaded that model, I can then select. So assuming that I have the model downloaded, it will take some time to download, and that is the only reason I have gone ahead and downloaded this beforehand. Then I can go on to this chat option within LM Studio, and at the top I get the option to instantiate one of the models or load one of the models into the memory of my system. So currently I have the LM Studio DeepSeek R1 Llama 8 billion parameter model GGUF version. I can select the other models like the R1 Distill Quen, or I can choose other model like Phi. So for the purpose of this demonstration, let's stick with the 4-bit quantization here and the DeepSeek R1 Llama model. So this is the one I have loaded into the memory, and I can say create new chat here. Usually I start by asking a very simple question like what is the weather in Melbourne in the month of let's say March is coming, and I want to understand how does the weather look like in Melbourne in the month of March. So when I ask this question, we can see here that the model is thinking, and it thought for about 9.2 seconds, and it gives me this answer saying Melbourne weather in March is typically, it marks the transition from summer to autumn in the southern hemisphere. The breakdown it gives, like how does season transition, how does the temperature impact, what does the rainfall look like, and the events and activities which are related to this. Now if I change this to a different version, so we were looking at the Llama model, and this Llama is 4-bit quantization. Let's look at the DeepSeek R1 Quen model, which is 7 billion parameters with 6-bit quantization. So I'm loading this one, and let's create a new chat for that. So currently we are using the Quen model. Let's ask the same question. How is the weather in Melbourne in March, in the month of March? So it says, I suggest getting online to get real-time information. So this Quen model is giving slightly different response. Let's try again. Let's ask, or let's copy this and ask the same question. And this time it starts to think about it. So I don't know why it didn't go through this process earlier on. That's the beauty of this models. Like in case of generative AI, they are non-deterministic. If we ask the same question multiple times, we will definitely get different answers. So on this occasion, we can see that it thought for about 4 seconds and it gives an answer saying March in Melbourne is typically the start of spring season with temperatures generally mild, and it gives daytime and nighttime temperatures, and it says that there would be occasional showers. So we can see that there is a difference in the response that we get based on whether we use the Quen model or the Llama 3.1, or sorry, the Llama model, which we used in the previous occasion, so on the previous occasion. Now, if we want to find out more details about what this model is, or what are the different things related to the model, we can go back to the model card, which gives us a lot of details. So I can open this model card in the browser, and if I'm using this Quen 7 billion model, it will tell us that what is the context length for this one, what is the reasoning model, what is the version, and it will tell us all these quantizations, the 3-bit, 4-bit, 6-bit, 8-bit, and it will give all this information about each and every model that we can download. So that's another way to identify which model might be suitable for your needs if you want to try this. There is also a feature in the LM Studio itself. When we try to download a model, it will give us an option here whether this model will fit into our memory and whether we would be able to use it or not. So if a model is not fitting in our memory, there is no point downloading that whole model. So that's the whole point of doing these pre-checks before we download the model. Now, if you want to interact with this model in the programmatic way, the LM Studio also has this option where you can go into the developer mode, and here we can see what are the different APIs which are available. These are mostly the OpenAI supported APIs, and they are like most of the models, they support these endpoints. Like the model information itself is coming via the /models, and we have the completions and chat completions, which are the two different ways in which application can programmatically interact with this particular model. And then we have the embeddings. So probably I will cover that in a different video, but if you are interested in interacting with this or any model which is hosted and which can be run inside the LM Studio, this is probably one way in which you can interface with that using this approach of using the APIs to interact with the model. So with that, I've come to the end of this video. I hope you found this useful, and you can give it a try. Do let me know in the comments if you found this video useful. Until next time, code with passion and strive for excellence. Thanks for watching this.